The internet is such a blessing and a curse, and this will reveal one of the main reasons why men my age do not want to get married these days. Please watch this.
An actor that you stepped out?
No, I was sort of losing my passion for it, I would say, and really in a couple, two actors is a little rough when traveling and one is has to stay home and audition and one is off making films and it just too much separation. And
An interviewer once asked Brendan Frazier, "How did you feel when your ex-wife demanded an outrageous $900,000 a year in spousal support?" He said, "I'd walk through hell for their happiness." They fell for each other at Winona Ryder's 1993 barbecue and married 5 years later to provide for his family. He pushed his body to the limit filming the Mummy franchise. On set, he was wrapped in tape and ice daily, building a makeshift exoskeleton. The brutal toll left him needing multiple spine, knee, and vocal cord surgeries, in and out of hospitals constantly. He naively thought his $45 million acting fortune would secure his marriage. But when Brendan was crippled by on-set injuries and severe depression after being sexually assaulted by a top industry figure, Afton filed for divorce, claiming she couldn't maintain her lavish lifestyle. Even after learning his injuries left him disabled and unemployable as an actor, she still demanded a staggering $900,000 a month in support, non-negotiable for 10 years. A year later, when he begged the court to lower payments after his income crash, the public labeled him a man shirking his responsibilities. In less than 3 years, post-divorce, Afton took more from Brendan's after-tax earnings via support alone than George of the Jungle's total opening weekend box office. Reports later revealed she'd secretly embezzled huge sums of his paychecks during their marriage for failed investments.
I want to go back to something that was mentioned from Brandon.
Demanded an outrageous $900,000 a year in spousal support. He said, "I'd walk through hell for their happiness."
That right there is true love and sacrifice. This is such a travesty. As someone that grew up in the 90s watching the Mummy trilogy, it is a devastating shame to see what happened to someone that I thought was very cool growing up, and someone who I looked up to an extent as a role model. Now, this is all before I found Jesus Christ, the ultimate role model, the ultimate masculine man. But ultimately speaking, John chapter 15 verse 13 says, "There is no greater form of love than this, than someone who's willing to give up one's life for a friend." This is not just a friend for my brother Brandon. This is his wife and his family who he was willing to grit his teeth and bear hardship for. Literally going through several injuries and depression itself, going through hell itself here on earth for a woman that is just like, no, this isn't good enough. Everything that you're doing as a top 0.00001% man is not good enough for me. I'm just going to blow up the family because I'm not happy. Boo hoo hoo. Oh, I'm bored now. Boo hoo hoo. I'm going to blow up the family. A lot of young men are seeing this amongst other men who are extremely successful. Tom Brady, a literal male model, specimen of a human being, one of the greatest football players to ever play the game. Even he can't keep a woman. Dr. Dre, a little billionaire. Literally the maker of Beats by Dre. Literally someone who started off 90s hip-hop in a major way. He can't keep a woman. You're talking about some of the most successful billionaires that ever exist, and they can't keep a woman. So an average man that's struggling to make $40,000, $50,000 a year, they're thinking to themselves, what chance do I have if they can't even keep a woman? Like I said, the internet is a blessing and a curse. So I strongly recommend, as someone that lived vicariously through women, as a former man whore, I am telling you right here, right now, it is extremely dangerous to dive into the radioactive wasteland that is called today's dating market looking for a needle. Sirach chapter 25 verse 16 says, "I would much rather live with a lion or a dragon than with a contentious and spiteful wife." Proverbs chapter 21 verse 19 says, "I would much rather live in a desert than to live with a spiteful and irritating wife." Both of those men have very strong points. But you know what is the answer to this solution? I mean, he's right here. Why pursue a vain and shallow and superficial individual? Why pursue a vain and shallow and superficial individual who doesn't know of God, who doesn't know of God's love, or has a fear of the Lord, when you can instead better invest your time into someone who absolutely does love you wholeheartedly, that being my great king. That's what I recommend young men to do these days with their time. For them to understand just how much Christ truly loves them, that he was willing to die for you, wicked, sinner, fallen human being. He doesn't even know who you are, but he's willing to do that. Brendan Frazier took a similar approach for people he knew and loved. How much more will Christ do the same thing for you and to give you true love, joy, and peace that doesn't make sense if you but turn to him, for he already died for your sake, for my sake. So I recommend young men and young women, because this problem will not get solved if just men turn to Christ. Women, I believe in my soul, need to turn to Christ way more than men. Because let's face the facts before I end off this video. Divorce is currently 60% in the United States at the time of this recording. 8 out of 10 divorces are filed and initiated by women. 9 out of 10 times if they are college educated, or as I like to call, indoctrinated. And with the court system, the divorce court, the child support court, the alimony court, all being against the man in every way, shape, and form, it's not advantageous whatsoever for a man to get married. That being said, there's a huge problem, and there's only one solution. So I recommend that people choose the solution to the problem. Like how Christ said, what God has brought together, let no one separate. If only one person believes that in their soul, that being Brendan Frazier in this case, but the woman does not, there's a reason why we have so many divorces today. It's because people don't have a healthy fear of the Lord. They don't have a great love of the Lord. They don't even know him. But when you do know him intimately, like how I do, there will be no reason for you to even cross your mind, I need to break up this family. I need to divorce my husband or my wife. God hates divorce. Hates it. But you know who does love that families are breaking up? Satan. So, that being said, you have to understand who's really at play if you look at the bigger picture. I'm just here to let you know what the bigger picture is. Young men are coming to realize this bigger picture. That's why more young men are turning to Christ now more than ever in any time in human history. Again, the internet is a blessing and a curse. It's becoming a blessing for men because now they know the playbook. Now they know how to learn, adapt, and adjust. But the women are sadly lacking behind in learning, adapting, and adjusting. If anything, they're only becoming more rebellious. So I humbly request that everyone humble themselves to the one who can solve the problem that is dating and marriage in 2026. The answer is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Thank you all so much for watching. Please subscribe. I thank you for the support, and I hope you all have a blessed day. All glory to my great King.